Hello, hello, we are live. Welcome to Cooking with Chef Frank. My name is Frank Kramer, and I'm the founder of Eat Like a Vegan Chef, and I'm your host today. Today, you're actually in for a treat. We have our guest speaker, Dr. Jody, uh, doctor of the physical therapy, and I will bring her in just a minute. So, give me 1 second until everyone comes in. If you don't mind introducing yourself so we know you're there, it's always nice to talk to an audience. Towards the end of our live stream, we open up the floor for questions. Hello, Dr. Jody.
Hello, Chef Frank. How are you?
Good. How are you?
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Welcome to our live stream today. Today is actually usually my Cooking with Chef Frank, but I thought why not having a live guest speaker here, and I'm very
Lucky
excited
me.
about it. Yes, yes, I'm very excited to have you on
Thank you
today.
so much for inviting me. I really appreciate you bringing me on, especially in lieu of a cooking show.
No,
Hopefully the audience
absolutely.
thinks so too.
Yes. Well, we shall see.
Yes, we
Um,
will.
yes, absolutely. Okay, great. Yes, Dr. Jody, you have a lot of things going on. You are a board certified um, health and wellness coach
hmm
and doctor of physical therapy and so many other things. So I, I would say I give the word to you,
Okay.
and you can talk about your experience and how you have gotten there where you are right now, and tell our viewers
A little bit
a
about
little bit.
me.
That's correct.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jody. I'm so happy to be here with you and with my friend and colleague, Chef Frank, just to have this opportunity to tell you a little bit about me and what I'm hoping to help people achieve through my spine and body synergy system. Just so you know, I live in Kent, Ohio with my husband, Brian, and our husky puppy, Juno. She's not a puppy, but she acts like one. She's 3 years old. We've raised two wonderful children and continue to raise them, but they're now adults. One just turned 29 yesterday, and my son will be turning 26 soon. And we've lived in Kent for about 29 years now. I'm originally from Youngstown, Ohio, and that's where I get my sassy nature, kind of overly honest gene that I have. And we're 100% real, take no prisoners kind of people from Youngstown. Anyone who's from there knows that that is the truth, and it's pretty much an ethnic melting pot, which was just a wonderful place to grow up with such diversity. And it certainly prepared me for Ohio State University, where I would go to college. Um, Before that, just want to give you a little history about why I'm here and why I do what I do today. I really started to dedicate my life to health and wellness early on in life after losing my mom to hepatitis C. She was 40 years young, and I was 9 years old. Now living in a world without one of the people who I knew was one of those that loved me most unconditionally. She was a nurse who worked for the city, and her dedication to her patients brought her into some really poor conditions with some patients who were in very poor condition themselves. And it was in one of those locations, I'm certain, that she contracted hepatitis C. Now, back in those days, they didn't have vaccines that could save people like they do today. What I wanted from that time forward was to be like healthy and present, because although she was present, she couldn't participate fully in life as well as she wanted to, and as well as we wanted her to. So not to be like a Debbie Downer about things, but this was a huge impact on my life, and I started to get involved more and more into health and wellness, and started teaching health and fitness and conditioning at Ohio State when I was there. It was during that time that I decided on a career in physical therapy, not knowing that the career really was a part of my calling to help and heal, which is my true nature. So I've been a doctor of physical therapy for 33 years now, and I kind of found my niche by using my detective mindset to see beyond a diagnosis and find connections that naturally exist in our bodies to really solve problems behind pain and dysfunction. Most of the time, I was seeing patients who were at the bottom of a hill. That means after the ball got rolling and there was no stopping it till it landed. And there were cases that were much more complicated than they needed to be if only someone had looked beyond early on in their condition. So as time moved forward, I was constantly tugged back to the world of health and wellness and knew that I couldn't just look at this biomechanical aspect of people's pains of being off balance structurally, but that there was also an imbalance in so many other parts of the sensory system that we needed to consider. A couple of interesting facts. Sorry, Frank, am I like taking over too much? Did you want to did you want to ask anything, or could I keep going?
You can actually, oops, sorry. No, you can keep going. It's very
Okay.
interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. So, we had a busy life with our babies, and my thoughts of how to promote the concepts of a balanced life with body and mind combined, like started way back in the 90s. And I started at that point in time with my son when he was 4. Something else that would become a lifelong journey, and that is my studying of karate. And as I progressed forward and as a black belt, I had to stretch well past any comfort zone as I trained and advanced. And then that drew me into studying the Japanese tea ceremony. And so there was a real balance between yin and yang that was starting to be developed in me. A lot of these concepts I use as principles for my present influence with the spine body synergy system. So now I've moved forward from helping people recover from back, hip, and knee pain, treating them only in that biomechanical aspect as that traditional medical model allowed. And I studied holistic nutrition so that I could offer solutions to body pain and inflammation that cause stomach, bowel, skin, headache problems over and above their contribution to back, hip, knee, and other body pains. Then I became a nationally board certified health and wellness coach because I feel like we have to do our due diligence, especially in today's society. Everybody and their mother is online saying they're a health coach. And so who do people trust? Who do they come to? And I'm so happy that I could say that I went through that national board certification to show that I have integrity and commitment to go the extra mile. And these extra tools have really helped my clients look at the whole picture for themselves to see outside of the box what has informed their pain. So they're not just a back, a hip, a knee, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, lupus. They're more than a diagnosis. And I've met up with friends like Chef Frank who have been determined to stay together and stay connected because we have such like minds and hearts to find a way to help people to really find healing and hope and health through out of the ordinary ways. And I can't be happier than this opportunity to join forces with somebody like Chef Frank, who is so kind and caring and compassionate and like goes over and above to help his clients. Excuse me. And so he is part of my team, and I'm part of his team to help support each other and our clients. And so our goal is to help our clients attain a better understanding of their body and their mind, and to understand the signals that are being sent to us from our mind and our body to help us to heal and be well. You just have to learn how to decode, how to listen to your body, and how to respond to those signals effectively. And that's where true coaching comes in, is to walk beside you and help you learn the process to take care of yourself. So you don't need an expert, you're your own expert. So the most important thing is that I think we all talk about wanting to live a long life, but personally, I don't just want to live long, I want to live well. And I'm assuming most of the people that come to see me want that same thing. So that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. And hopefully we'll get some questions from the audience as we continue to go through. Maybe some of my discoveries, I could hit on those in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I will post some of these questions here. I just want to make sure that you also see those comments. I don't know if you can see them on your side.
I can.
You can. Okay,
I'm
great.
typing in hello, Karen, even though I could just say hello, Karen, can I?
You know what? It went into the private chat. You need to click on comments. You see
Okay.
on the
Oh,
right-hand
look.
side.
Hey, I thought we were the only ones here, Frank. Look at this. Well, hello, everybody down this list.
Oh, do you see it now?
Yeah, I do. I did not see it before. I was
Good.
like, oh, nobody's here. I was like,
Oh.
that's all right. I'm just talking to my friend Frank.
No, there's a few people here, and I'm really grateful for everyone who has joined today. I'm very excited to have Dr. Jody here. Dr. Jody has so much knowledge about this, you know, physical therapy, health and wellness. That's why I'd like to bring, doctors and professionals as Dr. Jody, because I'm not a doctor and I'm a chef. So
You're a
I want.
doctor of food, Frank.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds great. Yes.
Food doctor. That's what we're going to call you from now.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Food.
Thank you. Well, I try my best, and I think it's just it is so good to hear people like you, like yourself, to talk about health and wellness, because you have a completely different view than maybe I have. Maybe we are not that different, but you know the source of all of them, of all these issues we have.
Mm-hmm.
It mesmerizes me when you guys say, when you say, for instance, or if a client says, "Oh, I have back pain," and we don't know how the back pain is coming.
Sure.
You know, you can tell if someone walks crooked or straight or whatever. We don't
This is
see.
funny, Frank. Like my husband and I laugh about it because when we used to go to church, and I don't know when this started happening to me, but say people were walking to communion, and you're in church and they're walking to communion, and I would think, like, what a lovely experience that we're all having together. But then it would quickly shift to, like, why is that lady's walking like that? If the arch in her foot were this, or hey, that guy's knee is doing this, or I always used to want to go after church to go, should I tell everybody they're all screwed up and I need to help them right away? But I'm not really built like that. If somebody needed my help, they knew what I did, they would have to come to me. But I think you bring up a really important point, and I'm just going to share a few things that I tell my clients and patients in the past over and over again that are completely surprised at how simple it is for us to realign our own structural imbalances. And when you think about it, if everybody in the audience, think of yourself as a walking piece of architecture, and our muscles hold our pulleys in line. And so when everything's lined up, we don't have any pain. So the simplest thing to think about is, if you're feeling pain in a hip or a knee or the groin area or your neck or your back, you have to know that there's some piece of structure that is no longer in its place. And I want you to think about this. There's muscle forces that are on either side of the bone. I'm always like not sure of where the camera is. And think of these muscles being stronger than these muscles. And these are supposed to be balanced around a joint. And this muscle pulls in this direction. It's like a tug of war. So you can see how when these muscles get too tight and are overpowering and becoming dominant, they pull the other structure offline. And so then this other group has to try extra hard to pull back to try and gain some traction. And so you could have pain coming from both of those muscle sources. It's really difficult for people to know this, though. And I often joke around with my husband. I've been saying it for years. Like, why the hell aren't we born with a manual? Like a car, right?
Yes.
A car. You like when the steering wheel pulls to the right, go to page
Yep.
276. Well, I'm like, why weren't we born like, here's your daughter, here's her manual? Because there is a very basic biomechanical thing that's going on.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's very interesting that people don't really understand they might understand their car, but they don't understand their own vehicle.
Yep.
And I think we all need to spend a little time just trying to educate ourselves as to how we can maintain our own vehicle every single day to keep up the maintenance.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. That was phenomenal what you just said. I wanted to compare it to Apple. Not that I make advertising here for Apple, but when you get your iPhone, there is no manual in there. Yes, you can look it up online, but there's no manual. So
Right.
basically, we need to spend time on the iPhone to learn it. But
Right.
we don't spend time on our own bodies to learn them. We don't spend time. You actually said you did karate, then you went into Japanese cultural,
Tea
things.
ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah, and yin and yang. I find yin and yang absolutely interesting.
Me too.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting. Yin and yang, and yoga, yin yoga, or all these different things
Sure.
are very, very interesting. And I think we
Well,
need to take the same approach. And
right. And it's very tricky because when you think about it, we're not just a piece of walking architecture, but when we think about what our nerves do is in the musculoskeletal system, not only are they like our grand central station, like the brain's grand central station, and then we have all these wires going to different muscles and nerves and body systems to tell everything how to function. And it's not just for that messaging system, but it's actually an electrical system. And that electrical system has a certain resonance. And so when we have pain in our body and we have, say, trigger points that are little muscle fibers that have not stopped firing because of our repetitive work or whatever that we have to do, that you have these pains that are referred to other places, that electrical wiring gets jammed up. And so if we have a blockage to our electrical flow, we're in trouble. And we need to release those bound up areas and allow that flow to go back to normal, because it connects us to the outer world. I know it sounds a little out there, but if there's an electrical current that is the same as ours out there beyond our bodies, then it's true that we resonate out beyond our bodies. But we're also taking in information through our eyes, through all our senses. And so if I look in the mirror and go, ugh, I look like crap, and I have this negative thought, and you know about these, the gut hormones, the hormones produced in our gut, like serotonin and dopamine, that are feel-good chemicals. If we're feeling crappy about ourselves, about our lives, about the world around us, if we're stressed, or if any of these other things translate into our body, they translate all as chemical messages. And so we could not be producing those feel-good chemicals in our gut. We could be contributing to the feel-bad chemicals. So I think that's why our society right now in this pandemic is inundated with these concepts of just feeling so suppressed and so isolated that people are feeling depressed and anxious. And a lot of that has to do with those chemicals in our gut not being triggered, the feel-good chemicals. So how powerful those drugs are that we produce ourselves. And if we could elicit those drugs, if we could conjure them up in our gut by thinking positive thoughts, isn't it worth spending 30 seconds every morning, like to say, okay, let me pick 3 things I'm grateful for. But you have to mean it. You can't be lying. I think the body knows. Right.
Actually, no, you definitely have a point there, and that's what I coach my clients as well. Being grateful, being, write down your wins in the night, and you all heard me talking about it, and I'm so grateful that you mentioned this, because I'm glad that I'm not the only one. I'm glad you are on the same page, because I believe your thoughts create your day ahead. So, in my
Well,
opinion.
no, and
And
it's not just in an opinion, because in magazines like Psychology Today, where you have
mhm,
leading psychologists who have proven that the power of these drugs in our body can actually change our cell structure. So
mhm,
if we could change our own cell structure to
yeah,
be healthier by eliciting positive thoughts, and it's also, the words that come out of our mouth, the
mhm,
thoughts that
yes,
come in, the thoughts that go out, the food that goes in. If we're eating real inflammatory foods to our body chemistry, then we are setting ourselves up for more inflammation in our body. And I have something very I feel that this is very important to say. There are so many fad diets out there. So many, this is the best exercise, this is the best diet. Say the word balance to yourself right now. Everybody say it out loud. Balance.
balance.
So you think of what balance mean. Does balance mean something is extreme? Keto all the way. Oh, and I'm going to get in a little trouble with vegan all the way, am I not? Sorry, Frank. I love Frank so much. I'm not saying anything. I have people that'll be on keto for a long period of time, and they're starting to show signs of keto flu because they don't know that too much of a good thing can be too much. Now, I'm not saying that because how could plants and vegetables, how could that be bad for us? Fruits and vegetables, that can't be bad for us. But I've had people that I know that all they eat is meat. It's just meat, meat, meat. Some
Yeah.
people that I've met eat raw meat. I don't even know how that happens. I mean, I'd have to be real desperate, real desperate. And I'm not sure if I don't know what I'd do about that. And I hope I never have to know. I don't want to find out.
Yeah, yeah,
But so if you think of ourselves as being, we're a walking piece of architecture, but we're also like a walking chemistry set. What I could eat is very different than what my husband can eat. That guy could eat anything he wants, and it doesn't affect him. Me, if I eat the wrong thing, done. And
yeah.
we're all like that. We're all built a
Mhm.
different way, and we have to start
Sure.
to listen to our own body's wisdom, not what everybody else is saying to us. And
Correct.
that's a lot of what my program does, is it teaches people how to listen to their own bodies. So I don't tell people what to do. For alignment, yes, because they don't know what the steps are. But when it
Right.
comes to food, it's trial and error for each person,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. Um,
I'm so chatty. Huh, Frank? Am I chatty?
no, you're not.
Okay. I'm looking at your face going, is he going, when should
No,
he shut up?
no, 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 no. I'm looking at the comments. If I don't look at the screen, I look at the comments. So
Right.
don't mind me looking at it. I'm not. It sometimes it looks like I'm not paying attention, but I look at the
No, I think you
comments.
are. Sure, Frank.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up a few comments. I
Okay.
mean, not comments, questions, and
Okay.
then you can tackle them if you like. Oh, look forward for a chat. Okay, that's not really a question. I'm not sure if that's.
I see Connie. I'm looking through some of the things. Loretta
Oh,
with
okay.
painful arthritis in her hands, back, and knees.
Oops, sorry.
That's all right. Loretta, I mean, I've seen so many people, like in 33 years, I've seen people that have painful arthritis. I'm assuming this is osteoarthritis. Um, I think that sometimes when we get wear and tear patterns, it's very much like a car gets wear and tear patterns on a tire when it's out of alignment. And so it's never too late to get your body back into alignment. Now, the degree of wear and tear and the amount of arthritis, I'm not sure about, but certainly any one of us can learn how to put ourselves back into alignment. And that's one of the key features that in the first 4 weeks of my program is that people learn to listen to the signals, learn to realign themselves when they have to, and don't do it when they don't have to. And so it's a little bit tricky, and that's why I coach them through it week by week. My daughter was a gymnast, and she was 10 years old when I taught her how to realign her pelvis during a gymnastics meet. So if a 10-year-old girl, I've done this with 8-year-old violinists. Imagine being on an instrument where you're in this position for 6 hours in a practice room. Mm. Of course, you're going to be out of alignment because that's like a little precision athlete. And I've worked with volleyball players, soccer players, parents of these people, 90-year-olds in a nursing home. I mean, the key is we're human, and therefore our bodies are going to get out of alignment. It's a state of being human. It's not like you're weird because this is happening. You'd be weird if it wasn't happening. So it's very easy to learn how to realign these different things that might be contributing to your arthritis, Loretta. And do you mind if I look down here, Frank?
No, please go ahead.
And I'm seeing, Connie, that you have painful lymphedema. I know everybody else could see their names in there, and you are sharing in the chat. If there's part of me that's like, oh my gosh, is that a HIPAA violation? But it's not, because we're all chatting here. I'm not sure what your present course of physical therapy is for your lymphedema. I'm assuming you do wraps and maybe lymphedema pumps. There's always active exercise that you could do. Obviously, there's lymphatic massage and lymphatic drainage. I don't know if you're seeing a specialist that will deal with the massage specifically for the lymph system. Connie, I would recommend that if your present physical therapy isn't including that you would see if there's a specialist that you could be referred to specifically for lymphedema massage. I'm not sure if you feel pain and pressure, because I would imagine if you have quite a bit of swelling, you're more than likely going to have pain with that. I'm not sure if you sit in a dependent position, you have it on your arm and your back. So maybe we could have you could send me some more information than that in an email. Frank's going to give you my email, and I maybe answer some questions when I get a little more information, so that I feel like I can give you a really effective response. Because right now I'm just picturing something in my head, and I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. Alsha, am I saying that right? Alsha, looking for vital information that will chronic acute legs and lower back pain. So clearly there are times when you've had this ongoing for a long time, although there can be acute flare-ups, is what I hear you saying, Alsha. And if it's in your legs and your low back, then obviously when it's in your legs, the nerves are involved somehow. And a lot of times that has to do with alignment. And if you haven't been given diagnoses like neuropathy or, oh my gosh, went completely brain dead. Sorry. Yeah, if you haven't heard words like neuropathy, then more than likely this is due to an alignment issue. So I want you to picture something, everyone. If your spine, here I am with this, if this is a vertebrae, and you know the little notch on the back of your vertebrae, we'll picture it heading towards you. These little thumbs sticking out are facet joints. And I'm going to turn this over like this. And see these two where they come together? There's actually a hole that goes through the center of those, and the nerve runs through there. So if that's like this, but your spine is rotated, imagine the nerve getting twisted because the spine is rotated. So it's easy for people to have their low back vertebrae rotated, because say you were working out in the garden for 2 hours, or your job requires you to be rotated and looking to the left for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. Those muscles are going to get really, really overused on that side. And so you might see a twisting of the lumbar vertebrae. And when you get that twisting, along with it is going to come the nerve. And so obviously it's like trying to drink through a straw and squeeze it on the straw with your hand. You're not going to get whatever you're trying to drink through the straw. It's the same thing with the nerve. If it's being kinked or compressed, the message is going to change. And so you'll have those symptoms down the leg. But you're saying they're constantly tingling and in pain. So again, Elsha, when you get my email address, if you send me a little more of a picture, then perhaps I could guide you into a direction that might be helpful to you. Hi, Mahela. Do you have a favorite brand of shoe that has really good arch support? And I'm so glad you asked this, June. Everybody's foot is different. Okay. And I just went through this with a client where she was purchasing new shoes, right? I have a pair of shoes that I love to wear, and I feel like it gives me a lot of support. Somebody else could put those shoes on and go, what the heck is going on with this dumb shoe? So I think you have to try several brands, and you have to go to a place that is going to allow you to try those out. And when you find that if you're on your feet a lot, say you have to work on your feet, those shoes better support you like you want to, or you should be able to return those shoes. You want a good quality shoe, and you want to make sure that if you have a flatter foot, don't go getting an arch that is super high when your body's not set up to take that on yet. You're going to have to gradually increase the arch in your shoe. Also, look in the mirror, stand up, have a long mirror, put your feet on the ground and walk towards it. See if you notice that your foot's turning in, or if you tend to walk on the outside of your foot. Pick up an old pair of shoes of yours and look at the wear pattern on the bottom. See if it's worn away on one side more than the other, or in the back. And you could see what your tendencies are, where you tend to shift your weight. And we really should be able to, if we're balanced, there should be a plumb line that goes down from the ceiling, through our ear, down the side of our shoulder, down our hip, and we should be, and right just behind the knee a little bit, and then through the midsection of our foot. We should be balanced through the midsection, not on our toes, not on our heels, and we should be able to draw that plumb line straight down through our body. And so how you wear shoes and what shoes you buy is really based on what your anatomy looks like right now. And if you're working into the process of becoming more balanced, then your shoes will have to change as you become more balanced. Does that make sense?
Just to mention this, to point out this, my shoes are completely crooked on the bottom. So that means
Take one off. Let me see, Frank.
No, I don't have the shoes here.
Come on, Frank.
No, I have a slipper on. But the back of my sole is halfway. It's like this. It's almost like.
So Frank, we need to talk.
I know.
You're like that guy at church. I'd go, look at that guy. He's going to fall backwards.
I'm in trouble.
Do you bear your weight pretty significantly on shifting backwards then?
I have no idea.
I think you do, based on what you just said, Frank.
Yeah.
Seriously, we need to talk, Frank.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, doctor. Okay.
Okay. Connie said pump and manual lymph drainage. You're getting both of those? Yeah. And there's always, Connie, there's always some exercises, you figure, I know we already talked, but your muscles are your active pump. So when your muscles contract, they're pumping the blood vessels, they're pumping the nerves, all of the nerves, the blood supply, everything runs through the length of our body. So they're surrounded by muscles and tissue and nerves. So if you contract your muscles, you're creating a great pump. And if you elevate the arm while you do the exercise, then you even have gravity assisting you with that pump action. I could give you some ideas if you don't, if I'm almost certain therapy would have had to provide you with some of these exercises, but anything else I could lend, I would definitely do that. Fall and injured several discs in my, I'm reading Laura's, compression fracture L3 and 4. Oh, I'm so sorry, Laura. Some alternative methods I could use for pain other than muscle relaxers and pain pills. Great deal of pain. I've asked my doctor about physical therapy. Okay, so you have several discs that have compression fractures. Clearly, like a fracture has the same fracture that we would have in, say you fractured your something in your lower leg. We could put a cast on that. Unfortunately, we can't put a cast on our spine and protect it like we need to. So I'm almost certain you're wearing some type of a compression back support. Some alternative methods you could use for the pain other than the muscle relaxers. I would suggest some stabilization exercises that you could do to help to support the area as it heals. And then you might try and talk to your doctor and see if you could go to like a Tylenol. I'm not sure how high your pain level is and whether that'll affect your pain. But once you start beginning to do some stabilization exercises, the muscles will take the pressure off of the joints. And those joints are the things that have been fractured, even if they're hairline fractures. So use the muscles to take the pressure off and support the joints by doing some good stabilization exercises. Again, when Chef Frank puts up the information with my email, please don't hesitate to send me a message, and we could talk further about some of this. I'm looking at Jaka, is that how you say it? Jaka Styles, 5th back surgery, 3, 4, 5, found a cyst this time on L3. Well, again, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I have a big question mark in my head about the 5th surgery. Is that because the other surgeries haven't gone well? This is very interesting, and I'm not saying this. I want everybody to hear this. During my doctorate program, I did some research on a subject that bothered me quite a bit. I had so many patients that had spinal surgery that was not successful. And there was a study that was done on, this is going to sound crazy, but they did studies on 268 cadavers. And they wanted to see what the discs and the spines looked like of these cadavers. So when they did these studies, they noted that all of these cadavers had spinal stenosis, scoliosis. They all had wear and tear patterns, and they all on an MRI looked pretty significantly horrible, equally, right? They found out that in life, 60% of these people, when they were alive, per their family, never had one day of complaint of pain for back pain. And of the remaining 40%, 20% had gone on to have back surgery. And they found out that only a small percentage of those people actually had relief from any of that pain, which led the people who led the study to the conclusion that if you look on an MRI and you see wear and tear patterns, perhaps those aren't indicators for surgery. They're just an indication that all of us through time will have wear and tear on our spines, because why? We're not meant to last the test of time. We only live so long. It's true, Frank. I know.
Shoot.
That's what I say.
Okay. I'm glad you told me.
That really sucks. I don't like it. I don't.
I know.
I know.
But
so again, Jaka, I know that didn't answer any question. But I feel really bad that you have had so many surgeries. And my first question is always like, when I was working with a spine surgeon, anesthesiologist, physiatrist, I worked with this whole group, and they were sending me their worst case scenarios all the time. I mean, these people were ready to go back into surgery again, and they'd come to me, and I'd realize that I was doing what was called strategic orthopedics. I was finding their mechanism of injury. So say you jumped out of a tree, you landed on your feet, and you were fully flexed over. So that means your best healing position is the exact opposite position. So extreme extension, right? And I know this because I was hanging ghosts up in a tree with my kids and I jumped down and I could not straighten out. But I knew what to do. And 24 hours later, because I was slept in extreme extension, I ran in the 2-mile portion of the peace race with my niece because I did what I needed to do to have those structures like not have long-term damage. Everybody doesn't know how to do that, unfortunately, but I got lost in that one, Frank. I got lost in that one. I think so anyways, I had the worst case scenarios coming to me. And I actually had the spine surgeon call me and say, what are you doing over there? Because they would send me people who were on their 3rd, 4th, 5th surgery. And I was just allowing their structures to heal. And then we were working on alignment after that. And people were 10 out of 10 pain, going to 2 out of 10 pain within like 3 weeks. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, he's like, are you doing this method, that method? And I'm like, no, I'm simply letting people heal like they should and not just throwing them into some like cookie cutter exercise program after they come out of surgery. You have to heal after something like that, and possibly before the surgery. Heal before the surgery so you don't have to have the surgery. But they didn't want to hear that from me. He's like, I want to come over and see what you're doing. And then he never did. And that's when I decided to get out of the status quo.
Yeah. You see, I heard from, not to interrupt you, but I heard from Dr. Popper. She said the worst thing you can have is good medical insurance.
Oh.
She said the better your insurance is, the more tests they do on you. And all they're trying to do is label you with some kind of disease that maybe or may not be imminent, but they want to label you. So in the future, they can do some kind of regiment, medical, I don't know. But I find it to be, it's very sad that the medical system is...
Right. But when you think of what medical school, when doctors are in medical school, I mean, I worked in a step-down unit for 8 years. And what I learned in that place, like most people are on ventilators and peg tubes, and 98% of these people went on back to their lives. But what I learned is that it's really like a hit and miss thing. So like you come to me and you say, I have X, Y, and Z going on. Like, oh, I have stomach pain. And you're like, okay, I'm going to give you this pill, Frank, and let's see what happens. And then Frank goes home and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so much cramping from this. And so you call a doctor and you tell them, you may tell them. I've had so many patients, they don't call, they just keep taking the medication. I don't know why a human would do that, but I think they see the physician as this authority figure, where I see the patient as the expert in their body. So they're the person who has the most insight as to what's going on, and you have to really listen to the details. And in today's society, even more so, doctors are no longer the primary, they're not the major stakeholder in the whole medical model anymore. They actually have to have so many patients. 10 of us are signed up for the same time because they're trying to pay for their brick and mortar business. They certainly don't have time to hear our entire story.
Yeah.
So they don't have time to listen. So now when I stand for a long time, my left leg feels cold and wet. What's going on? So you've had 4 back fusions, Linda. Now when you stand for a long time, your left leg feels cold and wet. So clearly there might be 2 things going on. You either have a sensory thing where it's partly a superficial nerve that was cut. And I'm not sure how long these fusions were, but you could actually have that sensory change that something feels wet on your skin because the nerve was damaged during one of those surgeries. As far as the cold goes, that's part of the same thing, but Left leg feels cold. I don't know if it just feels like it's cold, or with your hand touching it, it feels cold, because that sensory change, it's all nerve related. I'm just not sure how deep of the relation it is. Any numbness, tingling, aching, anything like that going on with it, or just those two, cold and wet? I mean, it's still a sensory thing. It's still a nerve related thing. And sometimes nerves do have the capacity to regenerate, but it takes a while. Oh, yeah. June, I agree. I agree. I'm trying to read these. Partially torn tendons in my foot. I have not had many people who have, here's the thing about, you have 2 torn tendons in your foot. Now, that's the thing about a torn tendon. The muscle is flexible like a rubber band. The tendon is less flexible, and then the ligaments even less so. I don't think I have that up here, but like strapping tape, the tape that you use for boxes, that have the threads through it.
Yeah.
That's what a ligament actually looks like, and you could tell that you couldn't stretch that. So once the ligament gets stretched, you really have to rely on the muscle to support the area around the joint, because the ligament's not going to do that bone to bone real support. You're going to have a little laxity there. But Sherry, I'm just wondering if the tendons, like what the degree of they're partially torn. Most likely when they do a tendon repair, it's just within the tendinous unit itself. You shouldn't lose mobility as long as you do the right exercises and the right timing of the exercises after. You don't want that to wait too long. You don't want it to go into 4-8 weeks, where, like, say you have to have a cast or some immobilizer on. My daughter was a gymnast, so she had in 5 years, she had 4 casts. This kid, she drove us crazy. But I would always have the doctor take the cast off, and we would put on a boot instead, so that after 10 days, we started to do passive range of motion, so that there was no scar tissue. There was no immobility that was caused by structures getting too tight and too causing the joint to get too immobile. And so it's really the timing of when you start to do just gentle range of motion to the area to prevent scar tissue formation and to allow it to stay flexible. My daughter always returned to gymnastics at 4 weeks, ready to go back, because I was a pain in the neck. I was just like, nope, she's not keeping this cast on for 4 weeks. And then we have 8 weeks of rehab because it was immobilized so long, it did more damage. But so, born without a bone to support the ligament. What happened 2 years ago when COVID stopped the surgery? Yeah, it stopped a lot of surgeries, didn't it? Born without a bone to support the ligament. Sherry, and here's the thing about me, is like, there's always a way. There's always a way there's always a means to find a way to help do what you're looking to do, because the body is an amazing thing. And I think you just have to be able to, you have to work with somebody that can think out of the box enough that they aren't limited by what a black and white textbook has told them. And that's pretty much who I am since birth. I've just never been asked. I wish you could ask my father. He's got dementia now, so he wouldn't be able to chime in. But he used to tell me, like, this started way back when I was always asking why and how. So he'd say, you have to put the dishes in the dishwasher this way. And I'd go, In my head, I'm going, what happens to this thing if you put it in there another way? Is this thing going to blow up? Why is this guy putting a kid in charge of a thing that's going to, like, potentially kill all of us? I'm really thinking those things in my head, but I'd say to him, why? And he'd go, are you disrespecting me? Because that's what their generation. So I ended up getting it with the belt, because he didn't understand that my brain was really working on why, like, what happens. Mm-hmm. And so being able to look at the black and white, but to say, look at somebody's body and say, there's another way, and this person needs a different way than what we're seeing in this book. And so I really believe, Sherry, there's a way for you to get support, even without that bone. I mean, obviously, you've been living life without that bone, right? Your body's found a way to make things happen. So I don't know. Is that an okay enough answer, Sherry? You could go, no, Jody, that's total crap. There's always a way. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. The comments take a long time to post here on StreamYard. They're not as fast as on Zoom.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
the only
I'm just
drawback.
waiting to see Sherry go, Dr. Jody, that's total crap. Careful, Sherry. Anyways, no, I love the questions that are coming. You know, I always hate thinking that people are struggling or in pain in any way, and I think that what I love about the holistic nutrition and health coaching is that we could look at things from a whole view now, and we could really help people. What she said? Okay. No one knew I was missing one on each foot. It never stops amazing me, Sherry, what people don't find or don't recognize. And this is a funny story, because I think it's like you go like this and you're going, what the heck? I saw this lady. This chiropractor asked me to join their facility, and I was only there maybe less than 30 days, because he promised me he was not like, I'm not like all the other blah, blah, blah. And he was exactly like the other ones, because they had to pay for the building. So they were having people go 3 times a week for 6 weeks to all of the services, even if they didn't need them, including stem cell replacement, which was just ridiculous. Yeah. $2,000 out of pocket. So I see this lady, and they're like, we're not sure what to do with her next. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, her balance is horrible. And so I'm watching her walk, and she's like wobbling over 2 feet like this. And I'm like, Catherine, I'm like, has this been going on for a long time? And she's like, as long as I could remember. And I go, could you do me a favor? Could you take off your shoes? When she took off her shoes, see my hand here? So these are her little toes here. Her arch was this high on both sides.
Wow.
So pes cavus, she was way up there, like on the top of these mountains. And I said, Catherine, has anybody asked you to take your shoes off yet? And she's like, no, you're the first one. And I'm like, sweet Lord, are you kidding me? She's having problems with her feet because there is nothing in her shoe meeting up with this big arch. And she's just toppling over side by side. So we got in touch with an orthotist, and we did clearly she was in her 60s. We weren't going to change that arch at that stage. And I'm like, how would you get to that point without anybody recognizing that this was an ongoing problem when you were a lot younger? Not good. So it's a mystery to me sometimes, like just the simple thing. Could you take off your shoes?
Yep. It's
like
amazing.
Frank, I really want to see those feet now. You're really messing with my mind right here.
I don't have any shoes here to show you that, but I have that since, oh my goodness, since I'm young. I'm telling you, I have this at least 40 years. At least I'm walking with those feet. But I don't.
Now you are walking though, so that's a plus. But I think we need to talk after.
Okay.
No, I mean it. You think I'm joking? You're laughing, and I'm not laughing at all, Frank.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
What time is it?
I know. We gotta come to an end now. But I remember maybe 10 years ago, I went to a chiropractic because I had some pain. I don't know where I had the pain, in the back or somewhere. Then he said to me, Frank, look in the mirror. I said, yeah, it's me. And and he said, "No, look at your shoulders." And my shoulders were like this.
Yeah.
I was I was totally tied up. My shoulders literally were a different. One was higher than the
Yep.
other one was lower. One was shorter. It was, oh my goodness. I look myself in the mirror every day and I don't see this.
I think
And
that's like very common though. People don't see what they're looking at things.
yeah,
Mihaela, Dr. Jody is the spine detective, Frank, and you're in trouble.
I
I don't know
know, I know,
I don't know what you're
I
saying there.
know.
Well, okay, so I do want to leave you with this idea because I have been since this whole pandemic started and people are working from home more often and people are less active. I really want to encourage all of you out there to, like, if there are some simple things that you could do, is to just drink a little bit more water. Like, make sure you walk around the block or walk wherever you can at least 10,000 cheers. I don't have my water upstairs. Walk around the block, get in some activity and structure your activity. Also, the lack of connectedness is I swear it's killing our society right now. People need to find ways to be connected. And I actually have a new client that is over 70 and has talked to me about many of the women her age who have been talking to her about the same things. And we're working on getting a group together that could exercise together and be a support system to each other because they're not thriving in this pandemic. Sorry.
No, I didn't want to interrupt you, but you know what I've been doing lately? Um, when we have our meetings, our
Uh-huh.
coaching sessions, if I have enough people, like 12 people or so on the session, I create some breakout rooms, and I put, just like Yuri does it.
Yeah, yeah,
So we put it 3 or 4 people in each room, and
yeah.
and I let them talk, and I let them mingle.
Sure.
And in the
It's good.
beginning, they're all shocked. Oh no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. But once they come out of it, they're so happy.
Yeah. Now they're
I
like
mean,
me. They can't stop talking. Right. I do want everybody out there to try something because this is another thing that I've seen quite a bit because we're sitting more often. People's hip flexors are getting tighter and people are not breathing effectively. So I want everybody to sit in your chair and I kind of want you to slump over, pretend like you're looking at your cell phone. Everybody grab your cell phone and look down at your phone. Okay. And now look up at the screen and I want you to notice my neck here.
yeah.
I want you to notice how forward my neck is. I want you to
Yeah.
notice
Yeah.
how rounded my shoulders, oops, where am I? Rounded my shoulders are in the back. All right. And then I want you in that position, look at your phone, and I want you to take a hunch down there like we do when we're like sitting on the couch and you're all lazy, and hunch like kids in high school, like bored and rolling your eyes. So I want you to hunch over like that. And I want you to try and take a real deep breath and
You
see how
can't.
far you
You
can't.
can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to leave you with this thought here. I want you to open your chest and your shoulders now. Tuck your chin back and almost look up at the ceiling now. And now I want you to take it in a nice deep breath. And you
Feels
could
good.
obviously take it a nice deep breath, but think about this. Your diaphragm sits right. I'm going to come up here so I could show you this. Your diaphragm's right here.
Yeah.
When you take in a breath, your diaphragm pushes down, right? So that your lungs could fill up with air. And then when you blow out, it's almost like it's a pump that's helping push the air out. And then your abdominal muscles contract and the air releases, right?
Yeah.
When you're slumped over like that, your diaphragm can't pop up. And I want you to think of it as a pop-up umbrella. And the diaphragm has to pop up for the rest of the core to do its job most effectively, to support your back and your abdominal area.
Yeah.
So for those of you that asked, like, what can I do about this and this? You could breathe effectively. So nice full breaths and practice this. Breathe in, blow out. When you blow out, pretend like you're fogging up a mirror. And notice the difference in what you feel in that diaphragm area when you go like you're trying to fog up a mirror. So try it one more time. Breathe in, blow out and fog up the mirror. See how Frank, are you
Yeah,
listening, Frank? You guys, look at
probably
Frank.
not.
Look at Frank. Frank,
Okay.
say ha,
Ha.
but slow release.
Oh.
He's going back of your throat. Yes, good job, Frank.
Okay.
So it's that contraction that helps your
Ah.
diaphragm pop up.
Okay.
That's the best abdominal exercise you could do, and you could do it anywhere, anytime, because you're
Yeah.
breathing all day long. So I'm going to leave you with that little
Excellent.
priceless jewel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judy. I mean, this was priceless. Very, very good. I have learned so much today. It's just unbelievable. Thank you so
Well,
much.
I can't wait to learn from you, because you guys are going to have to stay tuned, because Frank and I are going to get in the kitchen and he's going to teach me how to cook some vegan things. And I'm going to have to hide all my olive oil. I'm half Italian. The other half is French, German, Slovak, English, Welsh.
Yep.
I'll be hiding my olive oil while I work with Chef Frank.
That's okay. That's okay. That's going
He
to be
likes
fun.
me anyways.
That's of course. That's going to be fun. Good. Okay. So how can people get in touch with you?
You could send me an email at jody@thespinedetective.com. That's a good way. Or I have a WhatsApp, 330-608-2917. And I know that I told Chef Frank this, but I have a newsletter that if you want the free newsletter from me, all you have to do is message me and say I was on Frank's show, on this date, and I'll send you that free PDF of the newsletter if you like.
What we're going to do is you send me all the information later, and I'm going to post it on the YouTube
Nice. Okay.
account, so people
Sure.
can get in touch there too. But obviously, anyone who wants to get in touch with Jody, you can do this right away. But I will also post it on YouTube.
Okay. Well, I hope this session has been helpful for all of you, and I'm always open and to like answering some questions outside of something like this. And I'm wishing you all the very best in health and wellness, and anything I could do to be instrumental towards those ends, I would love to. Frank, thank you so much. You're wonderful. I love you. I think I love messing with you. It's one of my favorite things. It's growing to be one of my favorite things, I think.
That's fine. I love the fun. Absolutely. I enjoy it. I learn a lot. I love to be around people like yourself. You're so much smarter than me.
Oh, stop
I
that right now. I hate when you
I
say that. He says that, people, and let me tell you, this guy's a genius with food. So I'm not even going to accept that. I think that's very nice that you said that, but it's just not true. I'm not
thank
that.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, good. So anyone who is on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up and follow my channel if you don't mind. That helps me grow my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
I hope
thanks for having me. Thanks to all of you, and thanks for your great questions. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Jody.
Okay. See you
Don't hang
later,
up.
Frank.
Don't hang up. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Again, we don't have always a live stream on. I mean, a live speaker on Thursdays, but this one, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I love Dr. Jody. She is really a genius in what she's doing. Thank you so much, and give it a thumbs up or a like. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great day. Be safe and think plant-based.